We are in a mood.
I think there's certain liberties that are being felt by the fact that it's only us seeing this in the moment.
I mean, we don't behave normally, so...
No, but if we misbehave too much, we'll be creating a lot of work for Vix, which we don't want to do.
Who was the person that noticed that the head thing on the wall was watching us?
Might have been Laris who noticed that. It was whoever was the first one through the barrier.
I was the first one through the barrier, but
with the
Vix is saying she noticed, and
okay,
I believe.
But yeah, I don't think we did when we popped our heads through.
I noticed it, and then somebody asked me why I was looking at it because I kept going like this to see if its eyes were following me.
I don't even remember. Did we even do anything about that?
Nope.
Nothing solved. What are we going to do about it?
No problem if I don't think about it.
I mean, all it can do is watch that space, right?
We are going to jump into tonight's game, and we're going to start with Anath.
Hello.
As you bed down for the night, sleep finds you quite readily. You dream tonight. It's very vivid. Or, I shouldn't say vivid because it's a very powerful, very real dream. You're floating in a mostly black void filled with a swirling mist. A smell of stagnant water hangs in the air. You can see, although there's little to look at, nor is there a discernible source of light. The air itself seems to be just generally luminous. You hear faint whispers. They are unintelligible, but you get the sense that they're addressing you. Floating around the edge of your vision, 3 ever so faint points of a pale red light tumble around in the air with flight patterns reminiscent of those of butterflies. You turn your head to get a better bead on them, but they defy any attempts to focus your vision on them, remaining perpetually at your periphery. But apart from that, the night passes a bit chilly for all of you, thanks to kept warm, thanks to your little friendly pocket firekeeper. And you all awake in the morning, just before... Well, Cam probably doesn't, but the rest of you awake just before first light.
Okay, so we got a full rest.
You all receive a long rest.
Nice. I had some hit dice and hit points to recover, so that's good. I feel like Lyris would be up before most, if not all. Very much used to.
If anyone would like to try and wake up before Lyris, we can resolve that with an initiative roll.
I imagine while sleeping, Lyris, you might have caught me like through my little night terror. I would probably jostle and make some weird noises whilst trying to sleep.
Yeah, that's absolutely. While he was on watch, he noticed that and like felt bad for the fact that he was messing with you while you were trying to fall asleep. Like, oh, he's actually kind of disturbed. Maybe I shouldn't be fucking with his head.
Skeleton.
But when he gets up in the morning, Lyris would make sure the fire's still going, which I assume, thanks to our friend there, it probably is.
It is.
And
you've noticed not being familiar with exactly what this item is yourself, you needed to stoke it about half as much throughout the night as you would have expected a fire of that size to need.
Yeah, he would actually kind of say thank you to the little guy in there in Primordial, and
A little bit.
give him a couple more chunks of wood to climb up on, and try to get out and see if there's anything worth hunting or gathering first thing in the morning.
Okay. Yeah. The first thing that you notice when you step outside is that although it has let up significantly, it is still snowing. Throughout the course of the night, you maybe receive 8 to 10 inches of snow. The door is a little bit difficult to open for that reason, but it does make tracking little woodland critters very easy. Make a survival check for me.
Absolutely. That will be a 21.
Yeah, you wake up early enough. You know the schedules of various different animals, and it is quite early for a snowstorm of this magnitude, and most of the hair in the area have not grown in their winter coats yet, meaning they are still gray and very easy to see. So you're able to track down, I'll say, with that, you're able to capture 3 hare if you so care to.
I think, given my relationship with the environment here, I'll take 2 and not take more than we need. I feel like half a hare is more than enough protein for each of us. So yeah, he tracks them down, gets out his longbow, but collects them and brings them back. And by the time everyone is waking, he's got 2 skinned hares over the fire.
Very nice. Would anybody else care to do anything this morning?
Wade probably would have been tossing and turning at night, just thinking about like that thing that Cam said was watching us, and like, why didn't we do anything about it?
He says this out loud as he wakes.
Yeah.
Why didn't we do anything about what?
The thing on the wall that Cam said was watching us.
Oh,
Oh,
we could have probably took it off, maybe. See what was behind it, maybe. Oh, I wake up also.
probably some sort of spell, but if you want to go take a look at it, you're welcome to. Breakfast will be ready shortly.
We could probably, like, I got crowbar.
And that's what Wade will do.
I just picture Annette waking up saying that.
Like, I just balled straight up as well. Yeah, we could take it off the wall, yeah, sure.
All right.
How'd everyone sleep? Everyone have a good night? I slept wonderfully, wiping off all the sweat.
You didn't seem to.
What do you mean?
You were making weird noises and jerking around. Wait, I mean, tossing and turning.
Oh yeah, like sometimes I prefer to sleep on the cold side, so I'll turn over to the cold. And I snore, I've been told. I mean, doesn't everyone snore?
I don't know.
I mean, Wade was just snoring.
Cam is snoring.
Are you trying to be deceitful about that, Anath?
Nah, this is me just straight up. Actually, no,
Okay.
to be fair, I'm trying to hide my... That, like, I had a little night terror. I gotta put my brave little face.
All right, I don't believe him because I witnessed it. So
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
like to insight check him about like why he would be like. I'm trying to get a read on why might this guy be hiding this.
Sure. Make a
Um,
deception check for me, please, Anath.
Alright, I forgot to pull up my...
I know you're
dice.
good at
Give me a
those.
You're probably gonna pull this one off though.
+3, yeah, ain't bad. Oh, shit! 22.
Oh yeah, that beats my 8 for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you know what you saw. He definitely had one, but he probably just doesn't remember it.
He's not the sharpest tool for the shit.
Maybe he's just a weird guy who twitches in his sleep. I don't know. Like,
Yeah,
it's
it definitely
very-
looked like a night terror, but
All right. Well, why don't you help Wade with the thing downstairs? You guys both know magic, right?
Yeah. Alright, come wait, I got my crowbar. Actually, do I have a crowbar?
How could you not have a crowbar?
I've got
Everybody
my
should have a
scimitar. I'll use my
crowbar.
scimitar like a crowbar.
Scimitar.
I don't
Yeah,
have
I'll
a
do.
crowbar either.
If you need a crowbar, I can give you one.
Actually, yeah, could we borrow it, please?
Yeah. Hey, though he like pulls it from his backpack and he like looks Anath like straight in the eyes. He goes, "You bring this back to me."
I'll bring it back to you.
Okay.
You take it. Thank you. Alright, come wait, let's go. And I just run.
And Wade just walks, and you go the same.
Wait, breakfast first. Wait, actually.
You got 10 minutes.
Oh,
Go ahead.
yeah, he said it's gonna be
okay.
ready.
Oh, he's not. Oh, yeah. I thought it was ready. Sorry, my mistake.
All right. So the two of you remove some of the barricading you did over the trapdoor into the basement and head on down the ladder. And you thought it stinked in here yesterday. Oh boy, that beholder's
Why?
been rotten all night.
Ooh, that's a good point.
Did we skin it as well? I can't remember if we skin
Yeah,
it.
you
yeah,
like-
you got some teeth. You got some
Yeah.
beholders.
I mean,
you
it'll
can
probably be
use.
easier to skin now, but you know.
It has
Ugh.
less skin now, so it would be easier.
technically
there's
less, yeah.
volume. Yeah. You head on around the corner and over through the experimentation chamber to this strange, semi-undead-looking bear head that's mounted on a plaque on the wall. And its eyes, when you look at it, it seems to be tracking your movement.
I would like covered my nose with my shawl from the smell. Holding my crowbar in hand. Okay. Have you taken a painting off the wall before?
What do you mean?
Let's pry it off. But like, I've never done this before. Is there a technique?
What are we? So are we just trying to figure out what? Yeah,
I was gonna just take it off the wall and like see what's behind it because like that's how.
just I don't know. Stick the crowbar in there and push.
But like where? Like right now?
I will
In the
also
thing?
point out, Anath, you cannot reach it.
Also, I'm gonna need some upsies.
Wade will like squat down and like get.
Thank you. But yeah, I crawl on. Alright.
You heard Wade.
Its back caves in. Okay. I use the crowbar to try and pry it off the wall.
Yeah, so you get upsies. What's Wade's strength score?
Not good. It is 8.
That's, I'll say, with Anath being as small as they are.
Small boy. I'm a light for halfling if that helps. I don't like
Yeah, I'll say for the purposes of right now, you're fine.
That's
We'll
not
see
a
what
description of
happens.
weight.
We'll see what
Actually, having
happens
47 pounds.
when you're also carrying a bear's head if you're able to get it off the wall. Yeah, so you reach up and you stick the crowbar behind it, and what's your armor class?
Mine?
Yeah.
17.
Oh, that's good. It's only got it sort of like snaps over to you and like tries to lazily bite you as you're trying to pull it off the wall, but you're able to shimmy out of the way of it. It's like,
Whoa, now that's rude.
Anath, what's
No,
going
no.
on?
He's trying to bite me.
What?
yeah,
No,
you hear this thing like kind of like gurgly growl and like snap its mouth.
Yes, when we step back.
Can I
and
just like slap it on the snout?
Yeah.
Hey, cut that shit out. Give me a second, okay? And then just.
Yeah, make a athletics check, I guess, if you're trying to force it off the wall.
No, excellent. I got 6.
Yeah, as you go back in for another attempt at it, it does try to take another bite at you.
Oh!
Where's all my dice go?
Oh no.
Oh,
The one I didn't get out was the one that I needed. It's not a lot.
It's just 25 hit points and a faints.
Yeah, it's only you take 2 points of damage as this zombified bear head mount chomps into your arm while you're trying to get it off the wall. So it seems to be affixed rather strongly. You know, one of the problems you experience is you try to get this crowbar behind it. There's no behind it to get. It is perfectly flush with the wall.
You got anything like can take the wall off away? We could like I can't seem to get the crowbar in.
How about we? I mean, you're gonna have to get off my shoulders because my legs can't. You know.
Yeah. I get off your shoulders.
Yeah.
Why don't we just kill it?
Enough.
I don't like it. I don't like it looking at me like that.
What if you cover its eyes and then we can try take it off that way?
I mean, I guess we could do that. But what if someone else comes down here?
I mean, they're upstairs.
Say, wait. I will say with watching or hearing Anath try to get this off the wall, you are entitled to make an Arcana check if you would so like to.
Suppose I can do something
We
like
should have done that.
That's not great. It's a 10.
I will also, if that's okay.
Yeah, go for it. It'll be a little bit more difficult for you just because of your lack of familiarity with necromancy.
I got a 14.
14. I'll say you both come to very similar conclusions. You are aware that there are magics that can be used to affix things to other surfaces and to lock things in place in space, and you think that's probably what's going on here, that there's not like it's not like hanging on a nail or something.
I don't got nothing to get rid of that. I mean, I just say, what if someone else happens upon this shack and comes down here? No, don't want
Maybe
them.
we could cover the trapdoor then. Hide it from.
Yeah, but I mean, they could open them up, right?
Yeah, but if you hide it, they can't see it.
And we
Like a rug.
clearly found it.
What if you put the old beholder skin on top and then?
While Anath is saying that, Wade is going to step back from the bear thing and put his hand out like, I'm gonna do it.
Okay, I step back.
And I will cast acid splash on it.
Nice. It can't move, so it hits. Yeah, roll up some damage.
Raises his head slightly and avoids the whole thing.
It's like a Matrix thing. It just turns its head to the side and opens its mouth, and it just goes.
It's five damage.
Yeah, that's more than enough. It's you spray this acid at it, and it just partially melts, and doesn't seem to be moving anymore in response to your motion. It is still affixed to the wall, however.
Is there anything inside from that we can see through the acid burn marks?
Just more bear part.
Did you want any bear parts?
I mean, it's just kind of ruined now, to be honest.
I mean, it was zombie, and it's zombie already. I don't know how much more ruined you can get.
Yeah, that's fair. No, I don't want. I don't want it.
I mean, you took the zombie beholder parts.
Yeah, but that's because you said you wanted something from it. So I'm like, all right, I'll skin it for you.
Okay, I appreciate it. I don't want any bear parts. We did our job. This bear will hurt no one any longer.
Is it still watching? That's
no, it is ceased to function.
Oh, it is. Excellent.
From your perspective,
we should probably get out of here. It smells something bad.
Yeah, no, it's probably.
It's that's going to cling on your clothes for a while.
Not if I stand outside in the snow and freeze to death.
That's fair.
I don't think that's going to help the smell, but. So when they went down, Lyris would try to wake Cam.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna have her wake up when the food was starting to smell good, so
Yeah.
people
Well,
are
it
already
it
like,
would be, so you could,
yeah. So
if you
she's definitely like, you're coming to wake her up. How do you try to do that?
um it, you're the only one that he's seen display like impressive physical ability. So he's
Hey,
You
approaching
saw me do a
cautiously.
flip. Oh, I know you. That was
he
in
wasn't
another
there for
room.
that. He wasn't
Yeah, he
there
wasn't.
for that.
He was in a different room.
I wasn't there for the toggle board either.
So yeah, he's gonna kind of approach from like the head and just with like one of the longer like logs from the fire pit there, not from the fire pit, but like for the fire pit. Oh my gosh.
Just-
He's just gonna kind of like nudge her by the shoulder, but
She's as you're doing that, she just starts like yawning, like just like the most pleased sort of yawn, and doesn't try to stifle it at all.
oh, you're up. I was just coming to
Oh.
wake you. Uh,
You're still holding the.
yeah, he's holding the log like right next to your face.
Were you just going to?
I was just going to nudge you. I didn't want to you know, I didn't want to scare you or anything.
So I'm gonna beat you
Oh.
with a stick.
I suppose that's kind. Just for future, in case we are going to spend another night together, or like a night in the same vicinity as each other. She starts getting all flustered. You could just call my name. Did I give you? I gave you my name.
Yes, Camriel, I believe.
Yes, or Cam, or Cammy. I don't think a lot of people like calling me Cammy because it feels very, I don't know, like familiar. But I don't know. Morning.
Morning. Your friends went downstairs to play with that bear on the wall.
Without me?
I'm sorry, I didn't know you wanted. You could probably catch them if you want to.
Well, I would have wanted to, but that food does smell delicious.
Yes, I caught a couple of hares before everyone got up.
Oh, I guess that makes sense with some of the things that I've seen. You're a hunter?
Yeah. In sort of multiple ways.
I don't know what you mean by that.
I've been hunting, well, everything. You know, I hunt to survive. I've been hunting criminals for the town guard and
Ooh.
monsters when they interfere with civilization.
Now, what we did with the whole letting the giant on the loose. Do you know if that's a criminal activity?
Well, if you intended harm, suppose it would be. But
I can
since
assure you, I had zero intentions of anything.
Say,
anything.
you are, Lara, it's reasonably certain that there is no specific law against unleashing a giant from some sort of suspension.
Yeah. I mean, the giant's a living thing, and as long as it doesn't interfere with people, there's no crime in
I mean,
freeing
if
it or
anything,
releasing it.
exactly. If anything, I was helping. But it just had some unfortunate side effects.
Yes, your helping did hurt people, unfortunately.
Yes, I'm not very fond of that. I don't like thinking about that.
But we'll fix it. It's fine. It's not a problem. We'll deal with the giant, and if you still feel bad about what happened, perhaps you could donate your portion of the bounty to those affected by it.
Oh, but I did see some things in the shop that. Yeah, no, you were completely right. I did get that glitter for free after all. It is good to share your fortunes with others. It just I have not had a whole lot in my life, and so I'm really enjoying all of the new things that I've been getting, and it's difficult now to think about maybe I shouldn't be enjoying them so frivolously.
Suppose I don't really think on such trivial things.
She just kind of um looks down at her hands, which are like kind of like covered in just jewelry, little bits and baubles, and her nails are all like also glittery and stuff. Is it frivolous to enjoy life?
No, one should enjoy life. I suppose that should be the way things are at all times. But
Interesting. Well,
there are things that are more pressing sometimes.
yes, I suppose yes, like the giant. Yeah. Well,
Right. So, on that note, we should eat up and gain our strength and head back out there. It's still snowing, but it's not as bad as it was.
I think I need maybe a warmer coat or something. And she's gonna start digging around in her pack for something warmer. And she's grown up in the mountains, so she probably does have something to change into. So she does that and then comes back for food.
I imagine the others made it up by now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think he's talking to you. He said morning to me already.
Oh, I heard that you guys went somewhere without me. Somewhere fun.
Well, you don't like being woken up early, right?
Did it have to be as soon as you woke up? It was a time.
I
What?
couldn't, like, I spent all night thinking about it. We just, you told us, and I went to bed, and I'm like, why didn't we do anything? Why didn't we do anything about it?
As far as I could tell, all it was some sort of undead creature attached to the wall.
I'm to deal
Well,
with
it's
headlights in this
double
moment.
dead now.
That looks terrifying.
Well,
I knew you wanted to do, I would have woken you up. I'm sorry.
that's honestly probably for the best in my experience. Undead creatures are not pleasant to be around. I think they're rather unnatural.
That's true.
I suppose it is good
Definitely.
that you have peace of mind now, or whatever.
Yeah, peace of mind, Wade. Oh, here's your crowbar, by the way.
Thank you. Here's half a hair and some berries.
Thank you.
And for you.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
They consume it.
Besides, Kim, you didn't want to. It was the smell. And
It
you
was
can
a
probably
bad
smell it
smell.
on us, right?
Excuse
And I'm
me,
gonna
smell this.
cast prestidigitation until it's not smelling anymore.
I just give Cam my shawl to smell so she can smell.
She like no boundaries at all. She just like takes a big smell. She's like, that is awful.
Right.
Why did you smell it? I don't understand
That's-
why
He
you
asked
smelled it.
me to.
Because I can smell out my
How
clothes.
else will you?
Maybe stuck my nose, to be fair.
I can smell you both from here. I don't understand why you'd want to smell that closer.
That's fair.
I
that's
just
fair.
thought it might be fun.
Wade, please. Prestidigitate me. Wade, be a doll.
Could be a useful ability.
Yes.
Can even warm someone
Look, smell me now.
during these long winter nights. Only for an hour, though.
I mean, stamina runs out eventually for all of us. Hey, the way you phrased it, I had no choice.
I understand.
Cam is watching this interaction between them, and she's read some books. She sees the inflection from both of them and just kind of tucks a thought away. I'm like, I think they might like each other.
Oh yeah, they are getting quite chummy with each other.
Shanks laughed so hard he went out of focus.
Oops.
Getting a bit steamy over there.
We're all without a hair in the world.
Oh boy. OBS does
Anyway.
not like me laughing that hard.
This is a poor time for you to be playing it.
We are going after a giant today. Is that what we're doing?
Yes, obviously, we have to rectify the situation that was caused.
Yes. Everything okay, Cam?
I feel great. I had a good sleep. Wade has some peace of mind. I'm happy about that.
Mhm.
You seem like you had some fun down there, Annette. And
Well, I mean, kinda. I mean, if I would have liked to have taken it off the wall. I couldn't.
I found that having a crowbar is a lot of fun, though. Regardless.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, it was great. It was like those 10 minutes I was holding that crowbar.
You ever wonder why they call it a crowbar?
Why do they call that crowbar?
I don't know. It's such a weird
Oh.
term, right? I don't think a crow could even hold it.
Maybe it's because like they're like feet shaped, like the tip of the crowbar is like the feet of a crow.
Yeah, but what, I don't know. Anyway, we were going after a giant, right?
But yes, maybe we'll find a book that answers that question.
I feel like I'm stuck in a time loop here. Yes, we are going to fight the giant today.
All right, I feel ready to fight a giant.
I understand you guys had a wagon?
Yeah, we have a horse too,
Probably called a horse by now.
Little Joe.
He
There was a
sheltered
shelter.
out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's still cold outside, right?
Yeah.
I would hope
Yeah,
that
we
you
had a little
put some
thing to cover it,
blankets over
yeah.
him.
Yeah. It's not
jacket.
super freezing. It is cold. But it's not frigid to the point where you would worry about the well-being of the horse under lean-to.
Okay. Shall we
Alright.
then?
Then yes, we absolutely shall.
Very
When
good.
I see Little Joe. Sup, bruh? What up?
Well, before you even get to Little Joe,
Oh shit.
the thing that it's immediately apparent to all of you is that over the course of the night, 8 to 10 inches of additional snow had fallen on top of what you had been walking through earlier in the day.
Oh.
The wagon can probably get through it, but it is going to be slow going.
We can't just leave Joe here.
No.
No, if you leave him here in these conditions, he'll freeze.
No, yeah, nice. We gotta bring him back. Like I think he's only on loan, isn't he? As well, we aren't. Right? I can't remember if we did.
I think you bought him.
Okay.
I think you did buy him.
Please had him on extended loan. Perfect. But yeah, no, we have to bring what? He's my homie. He's my bro.
I would like to attempt to at least clear the passage to the road
Could
Yeah,
we like?
using gust of wind.
Okay. Yeah, you can do that.
So Lyris comes out and he kind of stands at the shelter and he extends his arms and just kind of speaks in primordial for a moment, and you feel this gust of wind rush past him and push this 5-foot line out, clearing the snow to either side.
Yeah, and it just kicks it. It's a pretty light, fluffy snow too, so it just kicks it way up and ejects it in front of you into the sides.
I've got a gust of wind too. I could help if you want. I can do that too.
Oh, can you? That's Oh, I guess you're one of those druids, right?
Yeah.
It's a useful skill. I
Yes.
learned it from my mother years ago.
Oh, I learned it from my mom too.
Wow, that's small world.
Wait, we have the same mom?
No. My mother looked like me.
Oh, well, yeah. No, that makes sense. Yeah, my mom kind of looks like me, but like a bit shorter.
Hmm. Yeah. Is the path cleared all the way to the road, or I can't remember the freaking range
It's
on this thing.
60-foot line.
I feel like that'd probably get us to the
Quite
road,
the
right?
line, yeah.
Yeah.
And 10 feet wide.
Well, it looks like we're cleared for now, but if we
When
hit
we
another
need you.
rough spot, you're
Yeah.
up, because I can only do that once a day.
Yeah,
It lasts for a minute, I think. So
Yeah, you gotta like. Also, shit.
Well, we're
Snow
really
plow.
we're gonna, but it stays in the one spot, doesn't it? Or does it?
I think you
I
can
think
move it.
It's on you. Yes, it's on
Is
you.
it centered on you? Oh shit! Ooh.
Yeah.
That got intense.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah,
Yeah,
what happened there?
gust of wind kicked in.
Yeah, I
Oh,
believe
man.
gust of
What a
wind's
time.
concentration for a minute,
Yeah,
and you can move it.
I'm thinking of a
go.
different spell. I think
I think you're just thinking of
Using
gust.
Gust.
Yeah.
that might be it. Yeah. Yeah, 60 feet, 10 feet. Direction you choose for the spell's duration. Yeah, fair enough. Well, then for the next minute, I'm clearing a path regardless of whether
Yeah.
where we are. I'll just walk in front of the cart then for now. Stay behind me. You can't find.
Yeah, it is easier going. You're able to get out to the road, and you can tell because the road does get a moderate amount of travel. The it's very hard packed, and any of the snow melt ran off of it more readily than it did the grass on either side. So you're able to see like a little depression where the road is. It's not just a complete level blanket of white.
ANF.
Yeah. Sorry,
Wood.
I fell down the stairs.
That's about what it would sound like. Yeah.
I fell off the wagon. Yeah. So yeah, how can I help? Wait, what up?
Would Joe appreciate it if the blanket was warm?
My homie Joe, would you like your blanket warmed? Also, would you like some
I-
cranberries? I saved some from breakfast. Flavor's got some. I don't know if you'd want some.
Man, I've never had cranberries
Yeah.
before.
They're delicious.
It's
Exactly.
very tart.
Yes, they are. Here, wait. You can't see
I
them.
think I like it.
They're nice, yeah. And I'll eat some of them out of my hand too. Would you like your blanket warm though? By the way, also.
Hey, that sounds nice.
Yes, wait, he would.
Press the digitation.
How's that? Is that toasty enough, bruh?
That's real nice. I like
Like-
that.
We don't want you chilling, but like we do want you kind of chill, you know. So like it's
Appreciate it.
all right. We're going now. So like, come on, let's go.
Speaking of warmth, someone did grab your fire buddy, right?
You did.
Oh.
Thank you for that.
Wait, I did, and it looks like my cloak's on fire.
It likes you. Aw.
I mean, okay, sure. You can hang out in here with me, buddy.
I mean, I generally assume that unless there is a urgency in departing a scenario, that
Yep,
you gather
you
all
took
your
your time,
things.
yeah. Fair enough.
Always good to check.
Yeah, we don't want to get where we're going and be like, oh wait, where's our fire dude?
And a
It's
forest
back
fire
at the place.
died.
He got angry and set a forest on fire.
Why'd they leave me
All right, well then we're on the road. We're heading towards
on the road again?
where the freshest giant tracks are, I suppose.
On
Yes.
the road again.
From what you understand,
giant, Joe.
a creature matching the description of a giant, although quite a bit more. Let's say most of the giants that you are familiar with are like large, kind of brutish, somewhat dim-witted creatures, generally with like fight with a club or something like that. Generally don't wear too many clothes, just like maybe some light leathers as general armor. This creature, while meeting the size of a giant, very, very tall humanoid, indeed carrying a club, this creature was reported to be clothed in green robes and was much lither and moved with much more fluidity than any giant with which you are familiar.
So you're going around asking people about this on the way? Or
Me?
did you, or is like, is it,
Yeah, I did. I asked people at where I had seen the tracks.
and do you let us all know that then?
Yeah. I mean, while we're on the road, I'll explain. So this giant was weird, right? Like it was,
Should, oh, go ahead.
it had green robes and moved more
Lively.
deliberately.
Sorry.
Has it
Never heard
caused
that
any,
word.
Strong words.
has it
It's a big
caused
word,
any
I've never heard it
damage on the way?
I think it had, right? Like I that was part of
It
what I was
had
told.
caused there had been some damage reported,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Not like wanton destruction of a village or anything, but damage to farmers' crops, a few small buildings.
Yeah, seems to have caused a bit of a wreck. As far as I know, no one was outright physically harmed.
Interesting.
You said that was weird. Why most giants aren't like that?
The bulk of the giants that I've dealt with here are hill giants. They're very, very girthy, very large, wearing leathers, mostly scattered. You know, brutish and heavy, and they'll grab and eat just about anything living.
Oh,
Are there other types of giants?
Oh, there's
That'd
all
be smart.
kinds. But they'd be bigger, I would think, much bigger.
I am a little bit concerned because it grabbed before um it left off the map. It did grab a tree. I imagine that can't be good in the kind of hands that you're describing.
Yes, the whole thing is perplexing, to say the least. But if it turns out to be a threat, we'll deal with it.
Who is driving the wagon?
An F, right?
I will need. Are you intending to? So, Anaf, Cam, and Wade had come up here trying to find a missing shipment of gemstones. Laris, you came up here looking for a giant. For the moment, these are taking you in the same direction. You, Laris, know that the giant was reported heading up towards the village of Sten's Gap at the foot of the Gilded Peaks, which is also the same city from which originated the missing shipment. Under normal travel circumstances, you'd be about 2 days out from there by now, a little bit less since you're going by wagon and not on foot. You do reckon that even with the mighty workhorse that is Little Joe, you will be slowed down by that. So I would like, if you would like to try and track the giant, Laris, I will have you make a survival check. This will be very difficult due to all the snow.
Understood. Well, I'm going to take a look for some tracks.
You
That's
okay?
in that one.
Fabulous.
So a total of 6.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
But in the snow, if it passed through here before most of the snow fell, we might not be able to see any.
It would have been shortly before, maybe 6 to 8 hours prior to the snowfall, based on the reports that you got. Rather quick turnaround time on you getting out of the city after this. Good to know on that. Anath, since you're driving, you're trundling along. It is slow going, but the wagon is able to plow through most of the snow.
Yeah, whenever it got like heavy, I would. If
Yeah.
Lyrises didn't, because of wind, I'd.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you can mark. Yeah, that'll overcome an obstacle. Yeah, it does. You do get bogged down for a little while, but fortunately you have the control of the elements here, and the snow is light and fresh enough that you're able to blow it off of the road. After a number of hours of trundling through the snow in this wagon, the forest starts to encroach on the road. The River Diaspora to one side of you and the shifting woods to the other. The passage narrows as the woods come closer to the road and the road comes closer to the water. Anath, since you're driving, can I get you to make a perception check, please?
I got my peepers out.
16.
How many?
Put that away.
16.
16. You notice, and you pull, but you see something. You pull back on the reins, just in time. Little Joe comes to a halt rather abruptly in the wagon. You get jerked around a little bit. You see a large depression in the snow in the middle of the road ahead of you. It's not super deep. It's only maybe 3 or 4 inches deep, but there's notable, maybe about the size. I know you can't really see, my arms are off camera, but it's maybe 6 feet across, crossing most of the length of the road, and maybe 3 feet wide. A depression in the snow.
Like, when you say depression, as if something like stepped in it, or like it's like something sat down in it, or
as if the ground underneath the snow is lower.
Okay. I assume it's going down, isn't it? All right, I'm gonna stop us for a second, and I'm just gonna go to the sun and start patting.
Is everything okay, Anath?
I think so, but I don't think so at the same time. I think we're going down, but I don't know.
What's your passive, Falarinx? Or I guess active, if you want to make one.
I mean, he's pointing it out. It is,
Yeah.
my passive is 15, but
oh yeah, that's enough to just notice it too.
You go down.
Sorry, I just wasted a natural 20. It's okay.
Well, you extra. Well, I'll say with a natural 20, you notice that the depression in the snow does indeed kind of conform to the general shape parameters of a very large footprint.
Oh, well, that just might be one of them, Anath. I think you've found our track.
Oh, I thought we were going. Oh, interesting. Wonderful. We should follow it, shouldn't we?
Can I tell where the next one might be? I know what general direction it's going in, so using this one as a guide.
It looks like you look back across the river, and it looks you can see a number of these other smaller depressions. There's on the other side of the river from where you are currently, there's a rather steep escarpment. So it looks like presumably the giant that you're tracking crossed the river here in order to avoid having to climb up this sheer cliff face, or mostly sheer cliff face on the other side of the river. And it appears as though the giant then started walking down, following this road.
All right. Well, it looks like it's going in the same direction as we are now. So
Okay.
just be mindful of, the horse and the wheels. Try to avoid these little footprints because it could cause some damage.
Nice.
Great.
Would I don't think it'd be a good idea to gust of winds, though, would it? 'Cause, like, that would have ruined the print, wouldn't it? So.
You
Would be
gather
like
from your
melt?
feeling around that the print itself is present underneath the snow. And there's some
Okay.
particularly soft ground right here that allowed this print to be so deep as to create a noticeable dip in the snow on top of it.
Okay.
Is that how big its feet are?
Yeah. Actually, that's a good point. Based on the size of the footprint, would I be able to tell what size or what type of giant we might be dealing with?
I will say you can make I guess probably a nature check or maybe history.
Okay. I mean, yeah, I'll take a nature check at 13.
13. I'll say the biggest giant that you've had personal experience with, probably felt lucky to get away alive from this one, was with a stone giant, and its feet were smaller than this.
Shit.
Cam is just
Everything okay?
standing there like petrified when Wade says like comments on the size of the feet. It like sinks in with her just how large this might be.
It's also relatively, for the length that it is, it's relatively thin.
So this is interesting. We're dealing with something larger than a stone giant here, which, let me just say, would prove fatal were we to fight one.
It's like a boulder giant. That's bigger than the stone.
That's not a thing.
I mean, no, sure, it's not a thing.
It's fair. It could be a thing somewhere, but it's. Anyway, my point is it's larger than anything I've dealt with, and more than that, its proportions are odd. Slender.
Maybe
Not sure what to make of that.
Guess we'll find out when we see it in person.
We should probably stick back though if we do see him.
I mean, it'll probably be easy to spot.
That's
We
fair.
should really be on guard. And she just kind of reaches out to Lyris and is just like, "You're good at this, right?" And she's going to give him her vigilant blessing, which gives you advantage on your initiative the next one you roll.
Thank you. Yes, I'll do my best. I won't let any of you down.
Oh, well, so I'm sorry for just touching you without asking. I've been told that's rude now, but I'm still learning.
It was fine. I didn't mind so much.
Okay.
He clears his throat and like looks like he's about to say something else, and he's like, anyway, I think Anath, you just want to be careful not to throw a shoe or anything, and we'll be okay.
Cam does, like, she says okay, and then she just kind of turns around and just to herself she's just like, oh, I should also make sure that Wade didn't mind that I touched him either.
When Cam turns around, Wade is going to cast Prestidigitation on Shanks' character to make like his whatever he's wearing warmer.
Nice and toasty.
Just steam rises out.
Yeah,
So much tension in this group.
Y'all known each other for 12 hours.
I'll throw myself through a window.
It's been an
All of us
emotional
are.
roller coaster so far. You know?
That's totally fair.
Yeah, I would be careful now on the road, or more careful than I already was.
Right,
As I'm
and yeah,
on the track.
whenever you see one of these footprints or these depressions in the snow, you know what to look out for. You either avoid it if possible, or take it very slowly and ease the wagon through
Yeah.
it. And
I would
you're
let Joe
able to-
know.
Yeah, Joe's like, I appreciate the heads up. I was wondering why we were stopping and
Oh,
starting all the time.
Yes. Sorry, my bro. We're trying to hunt a giant right now. Have you ever seen a giant before? My home.
What's that?
So like, look at me, and then just
Yeah.
like big, like just really tall.
Oh, so like all the rest of them?
Yeah, no, bigger than them. Bigger.
Wow,
Like look,
that's
look,
pretty
this is-
big.
Like this is its foot. Like I show him my foot. Like I lift up my like that's my foot, and that's tiny. This thing's huge.
That's pretty big. I don't know if I want to see that. That
It will-
sounds scary.
I'm just keep your peepers out, and if you see it, just prepare, and we'll keep you safe. Don't worry.
I
I'll
appreciate
protect you.
that. You guys
Okay.
seem really trustworthy.
Thanks, bro.
He's,
I
he's
have
really
a bit of a tear.
he's really good with the animal, isn't he?
I'm just.
They seem to be getting on really well.
But another hour or so down the path after following these giant's foot tracks, anybody got a passive perception higher than a 15?
No.
All right. Laris, you see first, off to the side of the road, a pile, a heap of something that is not snow. You catch it out of the corner of your eye, and then you look at it, and as you get closer, you're able to tell that there is what appears to be an overturned wagon
How
next
far is
to the
it off?
road.
It's like right next to the road.
Right next to the road.
Okay. I think that might be your shipment there.
Let's take a gander.
Oh, they said there were gems, and Shikam like is very excited about exploring this now.
The goal is to return the gems to them, though, right?
Right, but
We can still look at them. I mean, if it's not like if we don't have to like unlock the crate or whatever, we want to keep it intact, preferably.
of
Don't
course.
give us your crowbar.
They can show us the gems when we get back if we can't open it ourselves.
And maybe they'll give us one.
They were very nice.
They will, yeah.
All right. Well, let's take a look. As soon as we're like at it, really. There's no
Yeah.
point in hopping out early.
Not to startle you, Joel, my man. We're gonna need to stop in a second for this little thing here. This might be our shipment.
All right. I'll be on the lookout for big.
Oh no,
people.
we. Yeah, you keep looking for the big people, and you just let me know, and we're gonna attend to this quickly. We'll be as fast
If
as we
I
can.
see one of them, I'm gonna leave though.
Yeah, no, just let us know you're leaving.
Okay.
You stay safe. You always look out for number one.
How did I get roped into playing this horse?
He said, "Can I talk to the horse?" And you said yes.
Yeah,
That was your first mistake.
I thought they were gonna give it back, and they did. They bought it, so it's fine.
We loved him so much.
He was a good lad.
I do enjoy him too. He's fun. Get to turn my brain off every so often during the middle of the stream. It's great.
So Lyris would, leap down and kind of examine whatever happened here.
Well, as you approach, it becomes apparent when you get closer. You noticed it from a good distance off. So it's maybe like another 10 minutes wagoning before you really get up to it. And as you're approaching, you notice there is a tent set up next to it. It's halfway. It's like covered up slightly in snow up the edges. There doesn't appear to be active fire or anything. You don't see any draft animals, and no immediate signs of human activity either.
Looks like someone may have been camping here, but
Could we clear out the area of the snow? We've got
Maybe,
start clearing around the tent.
maybe their horses saw the giant and spooked
Maybe.
off.
But,
yeah,
like,
if it didn't just grab them and eat them.
it did
I
go
mean, you
through.
said there weren't any reports of malicious.
Well, that was
Well,
further
there
down the
couldn't.
mountain.
Yeah, like
There
yeah,
couldn't be if you know,
No one was
they
around to
got
watch it.
eaten.
They wouldn't have been able to
And-
psychically predict that horses up the mountain would get eaten in the future.
Okay. How about we check it
That's
out?
what I'm just did. Honestly, at the snow.
Yeah, Cam is helping.
Yeah, y'all spend a little bit of time digging around the snow. You're able to, like, the wagon is covered up a good bit. It looks like it may have even been here before the snow started overturned. You know, there's no snow underneath it. Have all of you who are digging through the snow make an investigation check for me.
Let's do it.
I'm good at this.
I would also like to investigate, but not that in particular. I would like to investigate any damage to the cart. Let's see if I can identify what may have caused it.
Got a 12.
12.
7.
I got
7.
3.
And I got an
Wow.
8.
Okay.
We're doing well.
Yeah.
Busy. I keep looking at little Joe just before he runs off.
It seems a reasonable assumption as any that maybe the horse is spooked and ran off the road and flipped the wagon when they saw something. Whatever happened, you're not entirely certain. Something caused the wagon to run off the road. The thing that's very notable, though, to all of you is, as you're searching through this area, there is very definitively nobody here. There's nobody in the tent. If you look inside of the wagon, the wagon is largely empty. You're able to wade specifically. You see a few gemstones, like small, rough gemstones, like sort of loose in there. No large boxes of them or crates like you might have been expecting. Laris, it's easy enough to find some damage to the wagon. It looks like there's some splintered wood along the side that's facing up. One of the spokes on one of the wheels is damaged, and the wheel itself looks like it hasn't completely broken, but has fractured slightly in that place. And there's some damage to the yoke where the horses would have been attached as well. Not certain what it would have caused it. It could have very easily happened if the thing flipped.
Yeah, this is completely indefinitive as far as I'm concerned. I don't know what caused this. What did you guys uncover?
Found some gemstones.
I might have been a snow.
Not enough. I'm gonna pocket them though, just so we don't keep, we keep track of them.
Can I see one?
Then he holds up. Insert gemstone number 3 here.
Yeah, they're all about, the ones you find, they're about this big, about the size of a pea, rough, uncut stones. And you find about 6 of them with a 13, I think it was.
12.
12.
But yeah.
5. No, so you find 6.
So this may have been your shipment then.
Do they have is there any signage that pointed back to the brilliant bubbles?
From what you understand, that would have been on the crate.
Okay, that's fair. Probably that shipment. Is there any tracks leading to or from?
Make either perception or survival check.
I'm better at perception. That is a 22.
22. Yeah, in some of the snow that had cleared away, you notice a faint. You're able to pick up on a faint set of footprints. It's not super definitive from what you've uncovered, whether or not it's just somebody milling about camp. But you have found a set of like regular size humanoid footprints that are, let's say, about halfway between the little tent that had been set up and the side of the overturned wagon.
I have a question. The large giant prints that I've been tracking, they're still going along the road,
They are.
like ahead of us, and it doesn't look like they deviate from the road at all.
Not by a significant amount. It's a pretty wide stride, so some of them are off to the
Right.
side of the road.
But it seems pretty consistent.
For the most part, yeah.
Well, our giant didn't break stride as far as I can tell. I don't think the giant had anything to do with your shipment. So they may have been robbed.
Well, that's kind of funny, isn't it?
They
If
want
the
to take-
robbers got robbed.
Well, the shipment was in the wagon, and Lyris is saying that someone.
I'm saying it was
Robbed.
probably just bandits that robbed your wagon. It wasn't the giant that.
So we're not finding. Oh, well, that's less funny. But I thought maybe this is what the robbers took, and then they got robbed. That would be funny to me.
Suppose sense that would be.
It was something that Wade said before. An eye for an eye, sort of thing. I think that's what it was.
Yeah, so that's the phrase was, yeah.
Oh, you know that too. Did Wade tell you that one?
Oh no, I've just heard it like just makes the whole
Wow.
world blind.
Oh,
Does anybody have a map?
I think that.
Do
Oh,
we
I
have
have something. I have something for map. Give me a second.
I think I did, but it's not on my.
It would
Gee.
make sense for you to have one.
I thought you had mentioned a map at one point, and yeah, it would make sense for me to have one. But
that would be helpful.
I mean,
I should
being a
start
ranger that travels this area frequently, I can literally just make one. Like that's
Yeah, you'd have a pretty decent map in your noggin.
yeah.
Yeah, my map's a star chart, so it's not actually as helpful.
Oh, I don't think.
What is
I
what
don't-
is it you're looking for?
Well, you said the giant and this incident are unrelated.
Most likely, yes.
The giant's probably a more pressing concern. I just don't want to lose track of where this wagon is. So
Mm.
when we come back to find it.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I won't lose track of it. I mean, it's also just off the main road. It'd be hard to miss, but
That's fair.
And they just wanted us to find it, right?
Well,
Find
they
out what
wanted-
happened.
I guess. I think, if we return
probably
the
want to
shipment,
recover their
if
investment.
possible. They said extra gold for recovering it, which would be nice. Gold is used to buy things like gems.
It does. My suspicion is that they were robbed by highwaymen of some kind. So tell you what, we deal with the giant, and I'll help you find your criminals. That's.
And
That
like,
does seem fair.
for we know that it could be if they're highwaymen, they could be further up the highway, maybe.
We might get jumped ourselves by them if we continue on.
I would very much not like that, so we should probably be on the lookout for them.
I mean, sometimes the best way to find a trap is by springing it.
Not when you're hunting. Actually, that's not very helpful. It's worse
Uh,
for a trap.
Well, it depends on what you're hunting.
It's fair. I only hunt like animals and stuff. So
If you're hunting a highwayman, you travel
Yeah,
the highway and make yourself look like an easy target.
okay.
Then they're
Oh, I-
surprised when you put your swords through them. It's hilarious.
I am an easy target with all these fine gems, I shout.
I
Oh,
think we should have Kim
would,
on display.
I think both me and Annette would make very good targets.
I think so too. High five.
Target buddies.
We just both get shot.
Try to reveal as much of your wealth as you can, and Wade,
Oh.
perhaps you and I could just simply hide in the back.
I am a rich trader, man. With all these fine gems. Look at me sparkle.
Have you ever heard the term subtlety?
No.
Cam just
Okay,
takes
so-
out a pinch of silver powder and just like puts it over her and Annette.
Full in my
Hey,
hair.
so it's good to look wealthy, but wealthy people don't go around shouting about their wealth.
Oh, that's fair.
They try to just convey it
What?
with their attitude. Can you try quietly thinking about your wealth?
You see
There you
Cam's
go, that's
face
perfect.
light up.
Hey,
He's
darling, my
beaming.
wine.
You're naturals. You're perfect. Well done.
Thank you, Squire.
And with the decision to prioritize the giant over whatever happened to the shipment, I think that is a great time to go on break. And we will be back here in just a little bit. I know, Shanks, you often like to say something before we go on break, and I cut you off at the break screen, so I wanted to give you the opportunity.
You put me on the spot when I didn't have one.
All right, we'll be back in a little bit. Hello, future people. This is a reminder, anybody tuning in late, one, shame on you, but I understand if you're busy. We are pre-recorded this week because I think for this one, Kaz is out of town or something. The next one, I'll be out of town. Yay. Yeah, that's all. We rejoin our party, having just found the likely wagon that they were seeking, or at least the wagon that used to bear the shipment that they were seeking. But decided that a giant on the loose might take precedent over a box of missing shiny rocks.
Yeah. So, as I was saying, we'll continue down the road and follow the tracks as best we can, but you know, we may get lucky in the meantime, and these highwaymen might jump out at us. We'll see.
That is a strange definition of lucky, but I think I understand what you mean.
Well, you know, I make my living off of capturing criminals and killing monsters, and so regardless of the circumstances, when I find them, it's usually beneficial to me.
That's
That
good.
is fair. Okay, and
Back
now?
to being rich.
Yes.
Sparkly. Yes. Are you feeling particularly sparkly now?
Yes, I think so.
Excellent. I
I feel like we're...
yes, just like I think that's how rich people laugh. Right? I've never seen a rich person before, to be fair. I don't think, at least. Yes, I am feeling rather extravagant today.
Make an intelligence check.
Who?
Anath.
I choose to fail. Oh shit, 19.
You think it's a pretty safe assumption that the Silverleafs are pretty rich, and you've met several of them.
Oh, never mind. I've met a few rich people. I've met the Silverleafs. Oh wait, we went to. Oh, we could wine merchants are rich then. I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think?
Yes. We're on our way to wine tasting.
we come up with a whole backstory. Like you're gonna ask.
You're not the silver leafs, you're the gold leafs. Even better.
Oh, that's even better, yeah.
Mhm.
And Cam's got the look as well. Stunning.
Yes.
That's good.
Thank you.
Good.
Oh no,
Well,
we
what's
did
wrong?
something wrong though, and she's
Oh.
going to quickly go like this and
Oh.
get rid of the silver she
Oh,
sprinkled on you, and then just toss some gold glitter in the air.
Oh, thank you. I just do a little spin to catch it as much as I can. Thank you.
You spray the perfume in the air and then walk through it.
Well, yeah. I am a fancy gold man now. Gold leaf. Yes.
Mhm.
We make the most extravagant. We put gold leaf in our wine. That's how fancy it is.
That does sound very fancy.
It's very expensive too. So
Sounds like you just created a battery.
Here you go.
Well, that's what
They
we're gonna
both-
do to the highwayman.
Battery. Anyway, we now have this story about who we are, and we're
Yes.
going to be on
Wine
display.
tasting. Yes. Oh, yes. Rich person me. Is what I'm saying to myself internally. I'm just channeling. I'm like whispering it. Just as like I'm like. Yes.
All right, I guess we're hiding in the back while they're doing this.
All right.
Little Joe,
So-
play along, please. Thank you.
Okay. So I suppose Cam and Anath, you're trying to make yourself appear a ripe target for banditry
Yes.
while also staying alert. So can I please have the two of you make either performance or deception checks and perception checks?
All right. We'll go for performance.
Same.
Like a
14.
14 and 10. Not bad. Not bad. It's a little bit above
Ooh.
average. And now a pair of perception checks, if you don't mind.
10. I got 19 on perception.
Ooh, I got an 11.
And
Oh,
11.
The subsies.
And 19. Okay. Yeah. So the day is getting on now. Been traveling for several hours. Departing, anything else before we depart the roadside area with the overturned wagon?
No, I mean, he
No.
collected the gems. That's much.
So Shanks, you are slightly out of focus.
Well, you know, I've been having a real hard time focusing today, so that makes sense.
I was like, do I need glasses? No, it's just him. It was just a little bit. It's just a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you depart and get about half an hour down the road when, Anath, you spot a location on the road that would be, you've got yourself in a little bit of a hunter's mindset right now. And you see a location on the side of the road that would be very convenient to stage some sort of ambush from if you were hunting for some prey of your own. There is, as you come up the road a little ways, the river curves away from the side of the road, and there is a little bit of a dip. The road goes down, comes back up, and there's like an outcropping on the side of the road, which would give you some elevation over it, while also being hard to see up onto, especially if you are coming from the north.
Yeah, I'm not used to hunting the most dangerous game, humanoids.
Right.
So I will turn to Lyris and just like whisper, what does a trap that a humanoid has set look like? I mean, because I'm used to hunting animals, I'm not used to what should I be looking at? Like, does it look like that? As I point.
He'll like, I don't know how I'm hiding in the back. Is it a covered wagon at all?
It can be. We never established that, but it would make sense that if you were able to hide in the back of it, that it would have a cover. So we'll say that it is a covered wagon.
I mean, I could just be under a blanket.
That's fair. We'll say it's covered. I had pictured it being covered, but I'd realized that we had never established that.
Fair enough. Then yeah, he'll just kind of poke his head out from around, and yeah, that looks like the kind of spot that.
Okay, Cammy, get ready.
Should we?
You guys prepare. You guys get ready. Kill.
I'm just gonna knock an arrow on my longbow. Be at the ready.
You don't want to try and flank him.
Wine.
If you want to do that, I would imagine you'd want to stay
Herbs and spices.
at range.
Yes. We will sprinkle some paprika in the next batch of white. I think yes. We give it a nice color. Make it like rose.
And
Chili.
pair it with
Make it.
cheeses.
Nice idea, Joe. Yes. So, will we put the cheese in the wine or the pat?
You eat and then you drink.
And what are the parrots? Are they serving?
The
Did you
what?
say parrot? I heard parrots.
No, I said cheese.
Oh, sorry, my mistake. I heard parrots.
What you...
That could make him extra lavish. Get a parrot to serve the wine and the cheese.
Maybe.
Yeah, it takes a bit of time to train.
Is this conversation drawing any attention?
I was going to say, while this is going on, Lyris, make a perception check for me.
Alrighty. I suck tonight. That's gonna be a 7. Oh,
You do not see any motion.
of course I don't.
Other than us acting.
This one's going to the dunce chair for the night.
And you trundle past this spot and carry on through it, seemingly without incident. There's no sudden hail of arrows or anything of the sort.
Well, either they weren't there, or they weren't convinced, or they were busy. Who knows? They just collected crates of gems. They might not be.
Should we stop and check? Or...
We have more important matters for now. Let's deal with the giant.
All right.
All right.
We can say glittered up though. I kind of like. I look very pretty right now. I think. Do I look pretty, Cam?
You look very pretty.
Thank you.
I was just thinking about. Oh, actually, I got ahead of myself. For a moment, I thought we actually were the gold leaves. I was just thinking about our vacation home.
Oh, you see. Well, where would we have a vacation home? It's good to know now so that we can establish it later when we come
How
back.
many windows does your vacation home have?
None. We shouldn't have any.
They do
We have
seem
we
to
have
pose a
we
threat.
have this servant boy who keeps jumping through them like a maniac.
So it's dark in your vacation home?
Oh no, we have many candles, many candles. Or we don't have a ceiling, so like it's.
We could also not have glass on the windows so that you
that's
can
fair.
jump in and out freely and it wouldn't
yes.
bother anything.
But yeah, because because the servant boy was too much of a maniac, we had to remove all the windows. Because
you seem very fixated on the servant boy.
I like to live my role play. You see, and I act what you know. You see.
Deciding not to stop and to carry on towards Sten's Gap. The day passes largely without incidents. Getting on into the later afternoon, the sun hasn't quite started to set yet. You notice along the side of the road, occasionally you're coming into some more farmland territory. You take this to mean, Cam, you've made this trip several times. So have you, Laris. The shifting wood, parts of it have been cleared as you approach Sten's Gap to make room for farmland. The outskirts are orchards, and then in closer, more not tree crop type things, your grains and things. I'm tired. Be nice to me.
No, you're doing grand, David.
And it doesn't take a perception check to notice that at this point, roughly when the thick growth of the shifting wood thins out into a deliberately cultivated orchard with much thinner fruit trees of some variety, the giants that you've been following, their foot tracks veer off the road and start cutting across the orchard. There are snapped trees all over the place, following its footsteps, not seeming to care too much about damaging these trees.
See, no, there's the kind of damage I was expecting to see.
I see.
Maybe it just doesn't like this. These are apples, right?
It'd be a reasonable assumption. There's no fruit on them currently. It is just past the harvest.
Should we pursue?
Joe, get ready.
That's what we're here to do, right?
Keep your peepers open, everyone.
You'd think we would hear it if it was nearby.
Oh, that's fair. Maybe he's sleeping. He got like chilly from the snow and so.
It's possible.
Sleep sometime, right?
Or perhaps it's very, very stealthy.
It could look like it. Actually.
I suppose it's possible. Even a giant could learn to move quietly. But something this large, knocking down trees, doesn't seem too concerned with being quiet.
That's how it gets you.
Wade becomes a giant expert.
Is there a path we can take to like kind of keep following the path of destruction without like trying to lead this cart through?
There's not like a path per se, but it would be the space between the rows of trees would be wide enough to get a wagon down.
Fair enough. All right. Well, carefully enough. Continue on.
Let's go.
All right. Are you proficient with land vehicles, Anath? Then I'll let you make a handle animal check again then to navigate this, because it is somewhat tight, uneven farm terrain.
I got unnatural 20.
Oh yeah, you're fine. These trees, it becomes apparent once you plow through the snow that these trees are planted on like little swales, little hills with valleys in between them, likely to promote, to make irrigation a little bit easier.
I just tell Joe to watch your step. Be careful.
And you're able to find a point where the wheels are level and riding across the sides of two of these swales. After, actually, let's the day is getting on. I'll have, you know what, everybody make a perception check for me. Yes, everybody.
Let's go.
You're actively looking for this. 8. Wow.
That's a total of. That was perception, right?
I'm gonna change my die.
24.
24.
I got 9.
9.
Got 7.
7. It is, it's you've been trundling through this field for about half an hour now, and now the sun is starting to set and it's starting to get a little bit darker. And you do notice off in the distance, sort of not quite straight the way you're heading, but off to the side a little bit, there appears to be a small structure of some kind. You more towards the north, making you look back the way you were heading. It's kind of hard to make out given the distance. You're still about a day and a half's travel away from the base of the Gilded Peaks, Wade, but even in this light, you would think you would be able to see the tops of the mountains. And it looks like there is a storm just raging on one of the peaks, which is with a 24, I'll say. Actually, that was a perception check. It's not too difficult to know that a storm raging on top of a mountain is a little weird. Mountains usually act as barriers to weather. Not that they don't get snow, but to have one localized like that.
Also, like it's just like a snowstorm on top, man. No.
But like just on the top of one peak.
Okay.
Yes, wait.
Everything okay?
Does that usually happen?
She looks in the direction. She was like looking completely opposite way. What? Oh, would Cam have pieced that together as well?
Now that it's pointed out, like you get storms in the mountains. You got lots of storms all the time, but they were everywhere. You've never seen one just in one place.
It looks a little stranger than what I would expect it to look like. Do you think that's connected?
It's worth a shot. Is that like in our general direction, or is that like?
It's not in the general direction of the way you're currently heading. So you guys are heading more or less due north here. I'm orienteering in a fictional map. You guys are heading more or less due north, and this is very much this would be to the northwest, almost continuing straight up the road.
Well, it's something we can look into later if it's important or if it's related.
Lyris, do giants? I don't know. This sounds a little bit. Do they cause storms?
Oh, well, of course, there are things known as storm giants. Oh, maybe.
Do you know if they are bigger or smaller than stone giants?
I think the storm giants are the biggest. I think, if I remember my teachings on the ordning, I believe that they're at the top, which means they're probably the biggest.
So we would probably be able to see it if that was one. And she like points out what
Yeah.
Wade pointed out.
Well, a storm like that could maybe conceal one. If it was causing that, they all have magic to some degree once you get beyond stone giants, I think.
Hmm.
My knowledge in this area is unclear, as I know that these giants are beyond me at this stage.
Just for fun, make a history check, I think.
Okay. That's going to be a 9.
As far as you know, you've studied giants. You've not heard any stories of them being able to conjure storms or cause them. Manipulate, sure. Make use of, absolutely, but conjure, that's not something you've heard of.
I've never heard of one of these giants causing a storm. That, as I said, my knowledge is limited.
But he has also never heard of a giant being put onto a map and appearing out of nowhere.
That's a good
very
point.
true.
It's true.
Good point.
Hmm.
A lot of this is very strange. By the way, that giant that was put on the map, does it match the description I gave you?
I don't. The giant miniature, did it look like, was it carved out well, or was it just kind of vaguely,
It was carved out pretty well.
did it match the description?
It did.
Oh, now that I think about it, it did. It was very finely crafted. But like, it's hard to tell when you're saying that it's like this large, and what I saw was like this large, and
Oh, I see. Okay, but at least we think we may have some concept of what we're dealing with.
A giant.
Yeah, I guess that's really all we've learned.
A big giant.
Maybe for now we just note the storm and follow the tracks as best we can. Continue on. We've got a mission to do.
So that's one. Yeah. If there's another reward for figuring out the storm, I don't know if anybody's living on the peaks or whatever. But,
like a storm chaser.
These are cultivated lands. There should be locals here somewhere.
Yes, there should be, shouldn't there?
Where did they go?
But you did notice the one structure, Wade.
By the way, there was a structure, but
Oh, that's probably where they are. We'll talk to people if we come across them. For now, we'll carry on. Onward, Anath. Onward, little Joe.
We're going.
And which way are you heading? Are you heading towards the structure, or are you following the tracks more?
Tracks.
Tracks. Yeah, it's something. You follow the tracks through this field for another 5 minutes or so, and then something looks a little bit off to you, Lara. So you can't see the next one.
Is it? Hey, everyone look around. Do you see any other tracks?
I'm looking. No, Joe, look. There's a track missing.
Let's say there's you spend a moment looking around. It's easy to tell when something's not there. And it appears as though this path of tracks ends abruptly in the middle of this field of trees.
Can I try and sense if there's any magic or anything?
Yeah. How are you going to do this?
I'm just going to try and see if I can pull the energy from the plants around me, and just use some old druid, just sensing. I guess you could say.
Make a Arcana check for me. and
6.
6.
I'm not one with since being in the sea. I'm not one with the plants anymore.
You're losing your edge, man.
The sea changed me.
You focus in. You're more familiar with communing with wild plants and the forest and untamed nature. This is cultivated nature, and it's strange to you. And you sense something, but you're not quite sure what to make of it.
Yeah.
Is everything okay? Why are we looking around?
Well, can't you see?
The tracks stop.
They stop.
They just end.
I guess you can't
Oh.
see. Is the problem? We can't see the tracks.
Is there still like the mayhem, like the chaos of like broken?
I'll say
debris?
just for funsies, you can make a perception check.
I mean, I feel like we would see a knocked down tree at the very
Yeah.
least.
I would not. I got a fucking 2. I got a 5.
If anybody else wants to make one, you certainly can,
not
but
fine,
you
sorry.
do not see anything of note enough.
Yeah.
What?
And another
Landlord
one for
in
the
the
dunce
dunce chair.
chair.
Wow.
Yeah.
8.
8.
The same.
D&D
can't
ate
see
my game
trees.
lately.
Not as bad as everyone, but 13.
Okay. I'll say it's not super difficult to notice when you set your eye to look for it. No, there are no more tracks, there's no more mayhem, but the last track is, or what the last swath of tumble down snapped trees that you've been following is wider, a little bit larger. It looks as though whatever creature did this stood in one place, stepped back and forth and around a little bit, and cleared out one larger patch of the growth here. Not like wholesale devastation, like somebody swung a circle of a club or anything like that, but maybe a few, like a little do-si-do around here.
I wonder
Well-
if it was looking for a place to sit or something.
Maybe, but you know how it kind of got summoned and then like out of nothing, and then maybe somebody out there knows how to make it not summoned anymore.
Perhaps someone got the token back on the map.
That would imply that there's
Maybe the-
another map.
Yeah, maybe it's like it's on a different table now. You know if there was any more of those research facilities, Wade?
There were many more of those research facilities.
Oh no.
I don't like
Yeah,
that.
I do have an idea though. We could see if somebody saw it disappear. I mean, I'm sure people were looking at this thing destroying everything.
Yeah, that home back there, or the structure. I don't know if it was a home. Perhaps whoever resides there witnessed what happened.
It looked like a little log cabin.
We should
I
head
didn't see it. So
We could go to the log cabin structure.
You want to go to which direction is it, Wade?
South.
All right,
That
Joe, we're gonna pull a funky maneuver here, and we just nice.
By which you
Easy
mean
little drift.
Somali drift, yeah. Somali
It was
drift.
just off to the side towards the north in the direction we were headed, but a little off to the
Yeah.
side.
The fuck, Wade?
What?
I gotta turn back around now.
A little bit of backtracking would be warranted, but not much. Before turning north, north and northwest to head towards the structure. It appears as though, as you approach, there is a little bit of smoke rising from the chimney. You can smell the sense of a lit hearth, and it, the area around it is very reminiscent, Laris and Anath, of what was the aftermath of your gust of wind spell. Snow had been pushed like all the way up the side of this house, completely cleared from the ground in front of it, and the house itself, or the structure, is almost like that, just a little bit.
Little wonky.
Yeah.
It's like
Suffered
built
some
on the
wind
hill
here.
in the wonk, or
No, it's built on flat level ground. It looks like the structure has like somebody put their finger on the top of it and just went
just leaned it.
just a little bit.
There's another cam out there somewhere. Playing with the map right now.
All right. Well,
Should we knock on the door?
yeah. Well, we're not exactly going to throw ourselves through the window now, are we? It's
No, of course not.
going to go up
What
and
maniac would do that?
knock on the door.
Knock, 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 knock. What languages does everybody speak? You'd think I would remember this by now. I've asked it times.
All of them.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
that'll be fine.
Yeah.
Primordial.
Common, halfling, and druidic.
Common and Elvish.
Elvish, common, and celestial.
You knock on the door and you hear an angry, deep voice yelling back something, seemingly in reaction in a language you don't understand. And then there's like a clamoring and like something got knocked over, and then it's quiet.
Did it sound at all like drunken dwarvish?
Where are you going with that?
I think we talked about how it looked, how some of the writing that we had found looked like drunken dwarvish, and so
I
thought
see.
maybe I'm familiar with how drunk dwarves sound.
It does not sound like dwarvish.
Anyone speak whatever that was?
After a moment, another projected voice, a little bit cautious.
Cam is going to use her thaumaturgy to make her voice a bit louder, and she goes, "Hello, we don't speak whatever it is that you're speaking, not to be rude."
Try in a different language. As
She
I shout
says the
in
exact
halfling.
same thing in Elvish and then in Celestial.
I do the same in halfling.
After a moment, and after the second voice, you hear a very deep voice speaking back in common. You're not. This isn't a trick.
No tricks. Only treats.
We're here to inquire about the damage that happened recently.
Actually, yeah, this ain't really a treat, to be honest.
I thought you were that thing come back. Hang on. You
Did
hear
it
through
knock
the
at their
muffled door. And you hear a little bit more clamoring and some shifting of some stuff. Like maybe it sounds like a piece of furniture is being pushed away from the door, and it cracks open a little bit. And where you're expecting a face, you see a shoulder, and you look up and you see a gray-skinned, bald head, about 7.5 feet tall, looking down at you. Says, You're not that thing. Okay.
What was the thing?
Opens the door. Says, Who are all of you? What are you doing on my farm?
I'm Camriel, and she
I am
holds
Anna.
out her hand. Oh, hi.
Reaches out to shake it. This absolute Goliath of a gentleman. Is Cam, you said?
Yes.
Fort Breaker. Good to meet you.
Ooh.
Looks
Hello,
like you
Breaker.
could break a fort, yeah.
Thank you.
I'm Anna.
Mm,
Like-
Wade.
I'm Anna. I shout and then reach out, shake his hand. Well,
It's like shakes your hand with like 2 fingers.
thank you. I hold both his thumb.
And if Wade's in
Lewis Zemali.
Uh,
He makes no
That's-
motion to stick out his hand.
That sounds like the city.
Yes.
That does
Like,
sound
you're-
like the city.
Are you the mayor? Are you famous or?
Are you the mayor?
My family, when we moved to this region, decided to take on the region's name as our surname because we are here to protect it.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Where were you yesterday?
On my way.
Oh, I guess that makes sense. Yeah.
You're well up into the mountains,
Well,
you understand.
please, it's why don't you
The
come
snow
inside?
also.
Oh,
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you.
Very kind of you.
Ugh. Where are my manners? It's been very tense here the last the last day and a half.
Understandable, not every day you get visited by a giant.
I've never seen one like that before.
What was different about it?
It was
Was it malnourished?
eloquent. I've arm wrestled with a hill giant before, and they're not.
Eloquent.
They're fine once you know how to deal with them. You know, my very kind of like straightens himself up a little bit. My people are descended from the giant kin.
I see. Oh, can you actually come
boy.
outside? A horse, just as a frame of reference for a horse, he's never seen a giant before.
Oh. Make a persuasion check.
Wait, the horse said it would be spooked if it saw a giant.
No, well, we'll tell Wade we'll tell Joel to like chill for a second.
Why don't we just focus on what we're doing for now?
No, this is so we can see the giant, just in case we have an extra set of eyes on little Joel.
He's not going
That's
to look
tall, by
anything like the other giant.
No, but like,
That's
he's bigger.
true. I don't look anything like this lady.
Lady.
It was the lady.
Oh yeah.
Was she also
never mind.
pretty?
She was eloquent, he said.
Eloquent.
She's more scary than anything else, but
I
I
mean,
guess
like
in
it's
a
attractive,
way.
scary, like that happens.
I guess like objectively, it is probably very symmetrical facial features.
Oh, yes, it does. That's quite ideal. Yes.
But you're
And-
tracking this thing?
Well,
Yes.
I was, but unfortunately, her tracks end in your orchard, and she's not there.
Yeah, we got into a little bit of a shouting match. She was damaging my trees, so I went and I yelled at her. And, well,
Understandable. I would be mad as well. Then what happened?
she gestured. She like swung her hand towards me, and all of this pile of snow and me, I got thrown backwards all the way across the field into the side of the house. There's
Oh,
all
is that why
this big
it's-
snow pile. Yeah, it's gonna be really difficult to fix.
I mean, what if you were pushed the other way?
I may be strong, but I can't push the house.
No, all of us, all 5 of us.
Oh, maybe with all 5 of us.
You got a horse as well.
Enough.
the
Why
horse
don't
before.
you use your wind ability and clear the snow away from the side of his house?
Yeah.
Take
mean,
the pressure off of it, and we might just,
Yeah, we
bounce
could do
right
that,
back.
And like this as thank you for all the help you're providing us right now. I feel that's fair. We can push it to put his house back together. All right, we are back. I was running outside.
Yeah, so this is a fairly simple log structure. It looks like it was not professionally built, but it is sturdy. On the inside, all of the furniture is sized for someone who's about 7.5 feet tall. So if you wanted to sit on like a chair or anything enough, it'd be a little bit of a scramble.
Someone off me, please.
Uppy.
But no, you're able to head outside and you're able to use your gust of wind to blow the snow away from the side of the house. And you hear it creak and groan a little bit as the pressure is relieved from it, but it doesn't fully right itself.
Well,
That's a
it's a
shame.
start anyway.
Well,
Did she fly off?
that was the weird thing. So I yelled at her, right? And then she threw me
Come
across
back.
the field. and I was kind of upside down in this snowbank, right? And then she sat down in the field, and then I don't know, she looks like she melted into the storm and was gone.
Sorry, into the storm?
Yeah, it was snowing outside still.
Interesting.
I think we
Very
know where we
interesting.
need to go now.
Yeah, I think so. I think she and her storm went to that mountain peak over there.
You said you were yelling at her. Did she say anything in response, or did she just fling you into the snow like that?
I think she, what's the word in common? I think she called me insolent or something like that. Didn't say a whole lot.
Do you know much about the different types of giants?
Not really.
And though you're descended from them, you seemed so proud of that.
I am proud of it, but I never was much for book learning.
I suppose that's fair.
I
Never
don't know
seen a
much.
giant like her before in this area. Like I said, it's just been mostly an occasional hill giant up in the mountains that comes down. They're easy enough to scare off if you know what you're doing.
Yeah, I don't know much about my people either.
Who are your people, Cam?
Well, like I said, I don't know much about them, but I remember my father. He was very beautiful, very inspiring to look at him. Of course, I only ever saw him in my dreams.
Are you sure that he was your father then and not just a dream?
Oh, it felt very, very real. Like, from what I heard, just through my mother, he was a muse of some sort.
He was amused?
He was a muse, like some people have faith and they pray and they ask for things that they need. She needed to feel moved.
Oh, interesting.
And then I came along. I don't think I was quite what she was expecting, but
I have so many questions, but
I honestly do as well. That's very unusual.
well, it's not. It's not about me. We do have a giant.
Indeed. Let's
Yes,
focus.
we can discuss this another time.
We'll focus in again. Do you know a path up to the peak of the mountain that way that has the storm currently raging on it?
Is that the mountain that Cam grew up on?
It is not, as far as you can tell from here, it is not the same one, but it is adjacent to it. There's a belt of various peaks that kind of parallel the coast of the bay, but much further inland. And it would be near to the one that you grew up on, but not the same one.
Okay.
But you would be aware of a way to get pretty close to it, and Fort Breaker will say, I don't really head up that way very much. Your best bet. I know they've got some kind of mining going on up in the mountains. You get all kinds of caravans coming back and forth between Sten's Gap and Zemali down that way. I send some of my produce down to Zemali every so often. There's probably somebody in Sten's Gap who can set you up with that information.
Yeah, that's fair. Thank you. One other thing. We came across a wagon that was knocked off the road as far as we can tell. Do you know of any bandits operating in this area?
There's some bandits through here every so often. Usually somebody comes and scares them off, or they realize that it's kind of hard to sell stolen merchandise here since, there's no way out of the harbor. Either that or you'll have to walk all the way around the Gilded Peaks to get to Yanura, or brave the bog on the other side, which is not... I've never been there, but it doesn't sound nice. So they don't bandit for too long, but there's been I've heard a couple of recent banditry attacks. I think there was some sort of grizzled old orcish fella that was in charge of them, I heard.
And I know this is a stretch, but any idea where they might be hiding out?
He takes and he thinks for a minute. Not really. They don't usually... Any tales of bandits I've heard from people passing by haven't... They've been kind of far away from the city. So I wouldn't imagine they're any closer than here to Stan's Gap. All of the tales I've heard have been closer toward coming back towards Zemali.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, well, thank you for being so cooperative. Does anybody else have any questions for this fine gentleman?
Hey, I mean, just so long as if you can get that person to compensate me for my damage, do you know how long these things take to grow?
I will certainly attempt
Years?
it if we can.
I appreciate that. We need some more people like you looking out for the little guy. And he gestures towards himself being a full 1.5 feet taller than pretty much anyone else here.
And Ath, you know how long it takes for them to grow, right?
Yes.
See?
I mean, I assume I might do, but I will, and I probably wasn't focusing. He was too busy just taking in how big everything is. But I'm doing nature check and trying to assume
He went out and did his snowblower thing, and then just came back in to wander
I
around
was
the guy's house.
Yeah.
This is like a
Head out.
bowl, but it's huge.
he's up on the guy's counter, grabbing his canned goods. And,
Taking some of his biscuits.
He's only
like
got
an episode
the
of Tom
number
and
10
Jerry.
food service can size things.
I am Jerry. Yeah, I mean, I could would I be able to know, or do you mean roll?
Yeah, you'd probably know. It'd be 5 to 7 years before
5
a
to
tree
7
starts
years.
producing fruit.
Yeah, I mean, what we would do is we'd actually sometimes whisper to the tree to hope that it grows and reassure it, and that usually help the sped growth at least by a year.
Hey, can you do that out there later? Maybe when the snow's gone?
I mean,
For a trade, would you be so kind? I do want to see what little Joe thinks of you. Little Joe is our horse.
yes, he's my brother. Well, not my brother from my
Your
other
brother
from
is
another mother. My brother from another mother. He's my homie.
I see. It's a metaphor, I understand.
Yes.
And Nath, you might
It's
want
an
to
apple.
talk to little Joe first.
Okay. I'll talk to your plants. I mean, of course, it's going to take a while. I'll show you how to do it. I'll teach. They say you teach a man how. You give a man. Wait, what's the problem?
Wait, what is it? What
You
is
build
the...
a man a fire and he's warm for a night. You set a man on fire and he's warm for the rest of his life.
Whoa, no.
You give a
that's
man
no,
a
that's
fish, he'll eat for a day.
Give
You
him a
teach a
fishing
man
rod.
to fish. Now he knows how to fish.
So yeah, that's. I'll teach you how to talk to your plant and
I
reassure
know.
them and boost their confidence so they can grow faster.
And
I'm
in
not sure happy-
exchange, you want your horse to look at me.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's that personally.
And Nath, I think what he's insinuating is that this business transaction is unfair, and that you might be able to ask for something a little bit more.
Not at all. Do you have any idea how cold it is out there?
It
Oh,
is rather shitty.
see, now he's saying that it's a fair business transaction. Then we can go ahead.
I feel like you're taking this businessman lifestyle a bit too far, Wade.
But I thought you and
Yes, no. But like sometimes these deals don't need to be. It's like quid pro quo. Is that how you
Quid
pronounce
pro
it?
quo.
Quid pro quo. Yes. Thank you, sir.
No. You're thinking of Squid Pro Roe. It's the best eggs you can get in the sea.
Well,
they're very expensive too.
Well, yeah, because only
I thought
my
rowing
people
is
can
like when you
gather
row a
them.
boat.
Well, I mean, it's even harder now that nobody goes out.
Do you think that the gold
I'm
leaves
sorry,
would
there's
eat
only one
squid
left of me.
pro row?
No, I think it's Squid Pro Row is like it's the professional squid rowing team.
This goes on for 5 minutes.
So, like, are they rowing for squids, or actually are they
No, they
squids
are
that
squids. It's the Squid Pro. So,
Squids
like,
can't breathe above water.
like, is it underwater boats? Like, you should know, sure.
There's no underwater boats.
Oh, it's like a boat, but it's overturned.
If anybody takes any time to regard Fort Breaker during all of this, he seems very confused.
Cam is
But a
also
little
standing
entertained.
there. Cam is also very confused. She gets lost like 5 iterations of this in.
Yeah, like I feel like this circled for a bit.
What
Seeing
are-
as how we've spoken until evening, perhaps Fort Breaker, you wouldn't mind putting us up for the night so that we could
Also, yes,
head out
I'm
when
glad
it's
I
safer to do so.
All right, but
I don't take much space, I promise.
in exchange, your horse can look at me, and I want the secrets of talking to plants, but I also want you to talk to some of them for me. So I
Yeah, no,
don't
yeah,
have to
like
do it.
I'll show you and like I'll teach you.
Okay, it's a deal then.
I shake his hand. Ah!
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, that was really fucking half one.
Your family's gonna come check on
They,
you.
I think I've got some extra furs around. It won't be glitzy like someone so shiny like you's obviously used to.
Oh,
But,
we're
no,
actually
we were
fine.
pretending.
If there's, you can just clear some space for us by the fireplace. And
Yeah,
we'll-
sure. And he just like pushes this table and just couch just like out of the way.
He's
We got
very
all kinds
strong.
of space here. It's simple, but it's, you know, I'm proud of my home.
You know that me and my boys at sleepover? That's what I imagine us. We just fall asleep anywhere.
It's a very lovely home. It really is. Your couch alone is the size of mine. So
That's as big as my bed. 3 actually. To be fair, I don't sleep on the bed, so like. So like,
Anath,
it could be as big as my bed.
I'm gonna teach you a valuable ability one of these days.
What's that?
It's the ability to engage your mind before you engage your mouth.
Why would I do that? I work on instinct. My instinct says speak. Does that make sense?
Your instinct is often wrong.
I don't know, man. I've lived this long.
It's, I mean,
Your
lots
paths
of-
have crossed now.
But he also jumped into a vat of skeleton.
and he's
Am I
perfectly
dead?
fine.
See, look at my skin. It's glowing.
Oh my God.
It's really like radiation.
Fuck, I'm
It's not supposed to do that. I don't know if anyone ever told you. That
Wade is
might
gonna-
mean you're irradiated.
Ooh.
Wade will
boy.
cast prestidigitation to make it look like he's glowing.
You're slightly luminescent now.
Why don't you ever do that to me?
Because he doesn't need to. You're already
Oh.
glowing.
Radiant, yes.
She just kind of like,
Ah,
oh.
all right. Well,
Okay. We can narrate over him
Yeah,
showing the horse.
I put my.
I think so.
Wait, wait. You gotta wait for a second. I'll rush outside. Joel. Okay, you're gonna. Yeah. Okay. Huh. Now get ready. Okay. You might lose your mind. Don't get scared. This is our friend. What was his
You
name?
got
I
a
forget.
what are you talking about, man?
We're gonna show you a giant, someone who's like got giant blood. Their family is giant. They were saying.
It's the little Joe's ears kind of get like distressed for a moment.
No.
And you say, "We're gonna show you a giant."
No, it's cool.
Or-
It's cool. It's cool. It's cool. They're cool. They're cool. They're cool. Don't worry. And like, hopefully,
you said they were dangerous.
No. The one we're chasing is dangerous. This one's cool. This one's like you, a homie.
Okay,
Don't worry, I got
that's
it.
a little. That's a little confusing.
No, don't get confused. It's okay. There's nothing to be confused about. Just relax. No, I'm here. I'll keep you safe. Don't worry.
Okay.
He can't hurt you if I'm here. Okay. Got you. Do you trust me?
Yeah.
Good. I trust you. Okay, you can come out now.
A
I'm
fort
just ready.
breaker will step outside of the house and say, "This is what. This is.
His name's Fallbreaker, by the way.
Hello, horse, Joe. Hi.
Yes. Name's Joe.
Is that? We good
Yeah,
here?
no,
or-
yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna go back inside.
You just spin so you can see.
Oh, all right, and it'll just like turn around.
No,
and
what
then
you gotta
walk.
work it. Work it.
I am not doing that.
Oh, okay.
That wasn't in the terms of the contract.
That's fair. No, that's fair. That's fair. You see, Joe?
And a lot of you return inside. The fort breakers, little log cabin there, and I guess bed down for the evening, unless there's anything else y'all would like to do first.
I'd like to know Joe's reaction before we go.
But that was just like a big person, man.
Yeah, no, you
That's
see,
like-
yeah, I mean, giants are big, like bigger than that, but like big person.
But he wasn't scary.
Yeah, no, yeah, this like that's. I don't really think we can use the word domesticated, but
Wow. The horse is domesticated.
he's civilized. Yes, civilized, not domesticated. Civilized is the word I was looking for. Sorry, my mistake.
Oh my god. Hurt my back with that laugh.
Oh boy.
Yeah, Cam like rolls out a bedroll and she's like out. She spreads herself out on the floor and you hear her snoring
Yeah.
pretty quickly.
Fort Breaker did also offer up a number of furs spread out on the floor. There's like an entire bear pelt spread out and some other smaller ones to make it a little bit more comfortable than a bare dirt floor. Or I guess it is a bear on a dirt floor, but
Wow.
You like set that one up for yourself.
I didn't mean to. I was like, I said it, and then I looked at Fowl, and then I thought, well, if I don't say it, he's going to.
You're right.
So Lyra sets out his bedroll on the bear pelt, looks at Kim. How about this bare dirt floor, eh?
She's like she's
I'm
already
clambering onto the
sleeping.
sofa.
Hey Wade, how about this bare dirt floor?
When you can tell it's a good laugh when not that any of you can see this, but Vix, you'll enjoy a measurement of how funny I've found things by how much my green screen freaks out. Great, and you all bed down for the night. Are you going to take watches, or are you just going to pass out?
If there's one thing I know, it's that you can trust a guy named Fort Breaker. I'm not gonna take watch. This guy seems good. He seems solid.
I will also pass out on the sofa when I clamber up on it.
Fabulous.
I would like to just make note that when Cam gets up in the morning, she actually like wakes up without someone having to do so because she decided that she needs to potentially ask for some different spells today.
Find storm giant.
Do you think I would throw you up against a challenge rating, whatever they are, 13 monster at level 4?
I
Oh,
mean,
I would, but not every encounter has to be a combat encounter in my mind, you know?
I, with
not
very few
every-
exceptions, am not you.
I will make friends with it.
not every encounter has to be, approached.
It's also true.
We could very much be like, it's a fucking storm giant. We're not gonna fight it, so back to town, everyone.
You just know what it is.
And I know that would be a little bit of a shorter session, but I feel like this is a pretty good place to leave it. It's after 8:30, and I think the next stuff is going to take more than half an hour.
All right. So next session's 5 hours.
Sure.